what's good? It's your boy, Brother Royce, one time for your mind, letting y'all know about what we got going on here at WMRR G.L.U.E Movement Radio. And we do want to talk today about the indie artist airplay, definitely, man, get y'all songs over to us, send your songs over to us. We are getting registered with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, so you will be paid royalties for all of the airplay. And like I said, we playing local artists, we playing the artists that may not get all the shine from everybody else, but they're doing their thing, they're hot in the streets, so that's where we come in. The song, you can also send us the link to your Amazon, to your Tidal, or to any platform that you would like to promote the volume to the music. When they purchase that, you know, the music comes to you, and that link will be up on our website as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. I'ma walk in love, I am not ashamed. I'ma wear my flaws, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. Like the roads in the concrete, no man can define me. Urban honey makes sweet tea, my heart would divide me. I want the kingdom, you can have the streets. Oh Lord, please humble me, give me more meekness. I wanna be rooted to the life tree. Best friends become enemies, draining all of my energy. I don't know what I really need, all I know what I wanna be. Keep a distance from bad seeds, want them to corrupt me. Trying to focus on the right path, even season get ugly. Let the haters me mug me, say tricks won't budge me. Moving mountains, splitting rivers, all can happen when your mind free. Have faith in the process, kill doubts, I still believe. Many angles of success, only divine how you choose to see. I'ma sit at this table, cry rest at the head seat. Bring the fire, I can take the heat. Bring the giant, I can take the beast. Wise men sit at Jesus' feet. Fear not, bold, take the lead. I want all of you, not a Jesus piece. All love just to keep the peace. Yeah, I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. I'ma walk in love, I am not ashamed. I'ma wear my flaws, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. Yeah, I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. 8 levels in relationships, you can learn a lot with closed lips. Jumping hurdles with front flips, being still while I'm taking trips. Got faith in a tight grip, love catch me if I do slip. Eyes open, it's a movie clip, new slaves and new whips. This generation really hate waiting, struggling with patience, struggling with relation. Dwelling in your heart, instant invitation, special dedication, special education, pretty over Satan. Yeah, stop time wasting, yeah, kingdom movement. Yeah, we anticipation, yeah, in this situation. This is Father God chose a generation. This is Father God chose a generation. Yeah, many trying to find, many have declined, many far behind, many so blind. Greatest of all time, blood of Jesus, I got my armor on. True love, no religious, they won't get this song. I've been still for a minute, they say I took too long. In this world trying to be a man, think I was doing it wrong. Yeah, I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. I'm in walking love, I am not ashamed. I'ma wear my flaws, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed. I'ma claim the kingdom, I am not ashamed. I'ma take them across, I am not ashamed. Yeah. They don't know, they don't know. I am not ashamed. Yeah. I'ma claim the kingdom. I am not ashamed. Yeah. Let them know. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. Yeah. I am taking my cross. I am not ashamed.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Brother Worst. One time for your mind, though. And we'll be back with more G.L.U.E Movement Radio right after the break. I'll let you, boy. Yeah. I wonder if I'll ever be a kid again, laughing and playing and so happy and innocent. Tender planet, dry ground, Colossians, the X-Men I am. Gotta be a child into heaven, am I entering? I don't know, what do you call heaven? Is it a place where you can run away from your oppression? Ain't gotta work to break them chains, just give your all the reverence. You leaving earth, so let the children die, you ain't stressing. Well, I stay here and protect them, let them go out on that battlefield. Shell shock, hell's hot, soldiers we don't battlefield. Tail drop, hell nah, give me more fire, liar who could fire to the skies as a rider, voices goal of fire, purifier. I go deeper, feeling like I already seen too much to ever return to the blissful ignorance I knew. But what you don't know, it will hurt you, and that pain is worse than anything the battlefield can throw at you. So I'ma see this to the end, no backing down, no quit, no giving in. Let the children laugh, let them play, let them remain innocent, and I take the world's sin. This is for the daughters crying for fathers who don't hear him. This is for the sons who ain't got no one to depend. I ride till I die, cause you the ones who I defend, and they'll die before me, cause I'm with you to the end. I ride with you, I cry with you, your tears made me a wig splitter. Father, don't sully your name, I'll be the one to get him. Remain holy, Father God, I'll become the sinner. I'll be your hands on earth, and I'll smack a nigga, because they don't fear God. They kick his children down and step on them with no regard, because nobody care for them enough to come this far and to save them. I still gotta go thousands of yards. This is a marathon and ain't no turning back, kid. We sacrifice too much for anything less than action. Cloud of witness, Garvey, Malcolm, Hampton, Pot, they happy. I'm focused on your neck till we are free, ain't no distractions. Earth is either heaven or hell, it's the decisions you make. They say lest you become a child, you'll never enter the gate. But God, the only way I'll return to the bliss of my youth is to set my people free so we can all be with you. So I'ma see this to the end, no backing down, no quit, no giving in. Let the children laugh, let them play, let them remain innocent, and I take the world's sin. This is for the daughters crying for fathers who don't hear him. This is for the sons who ain't got no one to depend. I ride till I die, cause you the ones who I defend, and they'll die before me, cause I'm with you to the end. This earth is either heaven or hell, it's the decisions you make. They say lest you become a child, you'll never enter the gates. But God, the only way I'll return to the bliss of my youth is to set my people free so we can all be with you. This earth is either heaven or hell, it's decisions you make. You trying to come up there by heaven, trying to come in and stay. When Christ return, he won't be peace, he bringing swords on that day. So where you flying to? Stay and make the world a better place. So I'ma see this to the end, no backing down, no quit, no giving in. Let the children laugh, let them play, let them remain innocent, and I take the world's sin. This is for the daughters crying for fathers who don't hear him. This is for the sons who ain't got no one to depend. I ride till I die, cause you the one who I defend, and they'll die before me, cause I'm with you to the end. Rock with me.
Are live, back from the break. Real shit's only music jam. Yeah. Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Brother Worst. One time for your mind, and we are back after the break with more G.L.U.E Movement Radio. Coming at you. So we are back with round 2 of G.L.U.E Movement Radio. We are back. So we just went over, a little history or whatever may have you. Talking about how we as a people have arrived at this point. And talk about what we can do to better understand the position that we are in, so we can better understand the moves that we need to make as a people. Understand? Remember, the thing about being conscious is, as we talked about on the last show, consciousness comes from a period of unconsciousness. So the first thing you do when you become conscious is what? You sit up, you check your surroundings, check your conditions, and then you begin to take an action, or you begin to take a step to improve your conditions, you understand? So as we are a people, as we as a people are beginning to become more and more awake, become more and more conscious, it is important that we begin to know our condition and understand our condition so that we can improve our position. You understand? So as I said on G.L.U.E Movement Radio, we're always breaking down and busting down black culture. And there are 7 facets of culture. There are 7 things, 7 pillars that make up black culture. As I said before the break, 7 things that make up black culture is the education, the politics, the spirituality, the family, the arts and entertainment, the news, and the economics. These are the 7 things that define the culture of a people nationwide, all across the world. These are the 7 things, you understand? So on this show, we talk about the black family, we talk about the education system, we talk about spirituality, we get into black politics, we get into everything that deals with the culture, black arts and entertainment. We also have, you know what I'm saying, black news. This is black news right here. You know, we get into all those things and we define what is black culture. This consciousness, we're coming into this awakening of our people, and we are reclaiming and redefining who we are as a people. As we're coming into this consciousness, as it's first realizing that the thing that has been the most damaged during these 400 years, the things that has been the most damaged since we as a people have been taken out of where we come from, is our mentality. A lot of the damage, most of the damage that we have taken is psychological. It is psychological damage. So the first thing you have to do when you are becoming conscious, or when you are awakening, or when you are seeking to be free, first understand that freedom starts from the inside out, not the outside in. If you have freedom outside, you are not free in your mind, you are not free in your inner man, then you will continue to recreate the conditions of slavery even in your outer world. You know, that's why they knew, okay, even though we are setting them free from slavery, we're allowing them to come off those cotton fields, they will continue to perpetuate their own slavery, because the indoctrination of slavery had been complete. You understand? Mine's terrible race, no doubt about it. The indoctrination had been complete. So, like I said before, the example that I use all the time, like a dog that is domesticated, they knew that we would continuously come back to our own enslavement because our minds had been trained that way. And the only way that we could truly have freedom is to reconnect to where we come from, which will reignite and reactivate who we truly are, which for the most part has been buried under who we have had to become in order to survive in opposition. So, you know, I remember reading and studying everything like that, and I remember it's a scripture that I would read all the time, and it would say that when Christ came to his own, they recognized him not. And that was the parable. You know, that was something I really took as we have been so separated from who we are that when we begin to come back to who we are, it looks strange, it looks foreign to us. We don't even recognize it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so it's an example that I heard that African friend I used to know used to give me this example all the time. He said, I can steal your car, and when I steal your car, I can repaint your car, completely make it over, change the interior, change the exterior completely, and totally change the car all around, that even if I drove the car in front of your face, you wouldn't even recognize it anymore. And that is what has largely happened to us as a people. We have been so changed and so removed from who we are as a people that we don't even recognize our original culture anymore. You understand? So the important part of being free and really understanding what freedom is, so that it may become more than rhetoric, but that it may become a reality for our people, is getting into the mind and unprogramming the mind. Unprogramming the mind. Separating the lies from the truth. Separating all the misinformation and all the indoctrination from the truth, from the nature of who you are. You understand? And my number one goal is you can't take away indoctrination with indoctrination. You understand? It's not my goal to tell you what to think or even tell you how to think. My goal is to connect you with your nature, to connect you with who you are. And that will now become the filter that you now run your mind through, your heart through, your soul through, your mentality through, that you begin to run yourself through who you are. When you are connected to who you are as a person, you are connected to your true nature as a person. Now, this nature will begin to separate what is you and what is not you. What things that you have taken into your everyday life, into your everyday mentality, that is not a part of who you are, and what things that have maybe been demonized or maybe been talked down on, or maybe have a negative connotation that is actually a part of who you are. A lot of things about us a lot of things in this culture, a lot of things about us that have negative connotations, that have been spoken on negatively, that have been talked down against, is actually who we are as people. But a lot of things that is destructive to our mentality, destructive to who we are as a people, destructive to the nature of our soul, those are the things that is praised as the things that we need to follow. You understand? And this system is very intellectually designed. I mean, everything here is placed here for a reason. You understand? Just like God, but as we know, the enemy will always copy God in what he does. You understand? So one big thing, I used to ask when I was younger is, when I was younger, I would ask it blatant, like, how come the world hates us? You know what I'm saying? Or the world looks down on us. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, nowadays, you can see black people in your television shows, and you can see black people in your movies, and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? But, for the most part, everything about us is still largely looked at as something negative, as something with a negative connotation, as something to be rejected. And for a lot of it, blacks are being accepted now because we are beginning to master how to be like them. We are beginning to master how to walk like them, how to talk like them, how to emulate the things they do, how to live in their culture. We're being assimilated into the culture. And movies like Get Out was made for a reason. Those blacks who was in that house, they were accepted. They were loved. They were embraced. You know what I'm saying? But their mentality was not their own. Their way of thinking was not their own. Their mind was not their own. It was almost like they were in some kind of illusion projected on the mind. You know what I'm saying? And that sunken place, as they call it in the movie, is not a place you see from the outside. You know what I'm saying? It's a place that you only see when you look in the mirror. It's a place that you see when you're alone. It's the reason why you may need those drugs. It's the reason why you may need that alcohol. It's the reason why you have your addictive behaviors, whether it be gambling, whether it be porn, whether it be whatever. And in my lifetime, I've been through many different addictions, so I understand this very, very well. You understand? So the change in mentality is what has to happen. But I still ask, I say, how come, it feels like the world is against us? How come everything about who we are is demonized and talked down and talked against in the world? It's like the whole entire world is in on keeping us down for some reason or whatever. And while most of the people around you, may tell you, oh, it's all in your head, you're just imagining it, it is what you make it, it isn't so bad, I've had to realize and I've had to accept the fact that we are different. We as a people, we are different. And a lot of the problems and a lot of the mentalities that are developed by our people, a lot of the self-hatred that is perpetuated by our people is because we are constantly looking for validation. We are constantly looking for someone to approve of us, constantly looking for someone to accept us, constantly looking for someone to love us. And in that, we have opened ourselves up and we have made ourselves subjected to control and manipulation.
Because I can say, yeah, I accept you. No doubt. Yeah, I accept you. But I only accept you if you are this way. And if you're not this way, then I don't accept you. But if you can just be this way, then I can accept you. But if you're not this way, then I can't accept you. You understand? And for a long time, we were falling into that trap. Maybe my life would be better if they accepted me, if they let me into the system, if maybe life would be better in the house. It's hot in the field. It's hard in the field. I'm tired of getting whipped. I'm tired of getting beaten. I'm tired of getting the scraps. I'm tired of getting the breadcrumbs. It would be better if I was in the house. They live good in the house. They eat better in the house. You know what I'm saying? They have a better position in the house. So I would begin to adapt and make whatever changes that I need to make in order to get into the house. But in doing that, in being pushed through that cookie cutter, we shaved off everything about who we are. We shaved off everything about what makes us great. Cali, what up, my boy? Good to see y'all. Yeah. Hell yeah. Shoot. Hey, we gonna have Cali on this thing real soon, man. My homeboy Young Cali, man, and we gonna do that thing real. That's fam right there, you feel me? Yeah, man. It's in, Cali knows well, man. We all know well coming from that system that we come from, where they place us in conditions that are so bad and place us in conditions that are so horrible that we are forced to change the very nature of who we are in order to fit in. But the goal is not to fit in. As a black man, I'm not trying to fit into nobody. The goal is to love yourself. And you can't love yourself until you understand who you are. Can you love a stranger? Can you really love a stranger? It's understanding who you are as a person. And the reason that we are so oppressed and the reason that we are fought against on every single level is because of who we are. So if you don't know who you are, you have no idea why the world is against you. But we are soul people. We are descendants of great men. And I'm not talking about men who did things to move a system forward. We are descendants of people that opened the heavens. We are descendants of a people that to this day, people say never existed. Can you imagine you being a child of your ancestors and you live in a culture where you're taught that your ancestors weren't even real, that they didn't exist, that everything that created you and made you and brought you to where you are never existed, it wasn't real. So on this earth, on this planet, you just become an orphan because everything about you has been pushed off as fictitious and not real. But in reality, you have been placed into a world. You have been placed into a reality that is not real. And by discovering yourself and finding who you are, you become more real than everything around you. You understand? So, it's like I was saying earlier when they was asking me, when my people was asking me, well, what you teach about on your show? I was like, I teach about our ancestors. And I break down our ancestors. I break down who we are. You feel me? And the first show I started off with Adam and Eve. And that may be laughable to say that that's our ancestors. But there's a reason why we're so different. We were made different. We were created different. And as long as we are running away from the fact that we are different, then we can never connect to our God. We can never reestablish the connection that we had to our God. Never. As long as we're running away from the fact that we are a peculiar people on this earth, we can never reconnect to our nature. We can never reconnect to who we are. And understand something. To reconnect to who you are, to click back into who you are, you have to accept who you are when no one else does. You have to love who you are when no one else does. You know, being black can't be a trend to you. It has to become your lifestyle. It is who you are. We are coming into this awakening, but to this day, there are still blacks who flinch when the topic of blackness comes up. But man, let's talk about being black, man. What does it mean to be black? You know, man, I don't want to be defined by being black, you know. I mean, I understand, yeah, I'm black, you know, but I don't want to get lost in the whole black thing, you know. I'm a human being, you know. I'm not black. It's still that. But it shouldn't be. The reason that there is that little flinch and that little twinge when it comes to being black, because being black is so criminalized. It is so criminalized. So to accept and embrace being black, you have to be a revolutionary. You have to be, it is a revolutionary act to accept who you are. And the reason why we must continue to accept who you are, because we must come into a world where that no longer exists. Where me accepting my blackness, accepting my kinky hair, and accepting my dark skin, and accepting who I am, it's not revolutionary. Because it's so rarely done. To accept being black is to accept being seen. It's to accept people being afraid of you for no reason. To accept people looking at you differently for no reason. And the bravery and the courage that comes from accepting who you are is that despite that fact, you still accept who you are proudly. Blackness is not caring what people think about you. Blackness is not caring whether you are accepted. Blackness is not caring how people look at you. Blackness is not caring what people say to you. Blackness is not caring how you perceive. Blackness does not change to be accepted. Blackness does not change to be loved. Blackness is blackness. Blackness is true. It is the validation of love. You understand? Blackness is the validation of love. Love without truth is false love. It's fake love. It's lust. But can you love me with all my truths? What if I wear my truths like chains? What if I wear my truths like earrings? What if I wear my truth like rings? What if I wear my truths? Can you still love me? Or is it, hey man, put that away. Put that away. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Put that away, man. That's man, you're gonna get us in trouble. Why? Well, what's gonna get me in trouble about being who I am? This is what it means. This is what waking up means. It means waking up to the fact that you are freaking awesome whether people accept you or not. It is accepting that when the whole entire world does not accept you, that God accepts you. And it's knowing who your God is, how God relates to you, what is your relationship and what is your connection with God. Who are your ancestors? Who are your forefathers? Who are your foremothers? You can go into every culture, and every culture has a huge list and just a huge repertoire of all of their forefathers, all of their foremothers, all of their ancestors, all of the creation of their civilization, and everybody that created in some way to their nation. We don't have that. We don't have that. You know? And what we do have, we depend on other people to teach. I'm not going to send my child to a public school system to learn about who we are as a people. what you learn about during the shortest month of the year, 28th month period, and you're not really learning. There's nobody really coming in to break down who your people are. You just get a couple lines in the book and you do a couple of paste on project boards. In order for us to teach our people the truth of who we are as a nation and who we are as a people, we got to take the responsibility of teaching that back upon ourselves. We got to take the responsibility of educating our own to who we are. We got to get up off our ass. We got to get up. We got to stop depending on everybody to teach us who we are or tell us who we are or validate who we are. And we got to start validating ourselves, teaching ourselves, and telling ourselves who we are. From Adam and Eve came Cain and Abel. And from Cain and Abel came Seth. Seth carried the seed of God. We're all children of God. But there's a children in this earth who carry his seed, who carry his soul. I always reference to those scriptures because it says on the 6th day God made man. But then God made another man, and in this man he breathed his soul. And this man became the only man on earth that carried the soul of the Creator. And that truth has always been there. Look at James Brown. Oh, black people got soul. They got soul. Yeah, we do have soul. And that soul is more valuable than gold, jewels, or all the riches in the world. It is the most valuable thing in creation because it is the soul of God. And then from Seth all the way down through history, all the way down through Methuselah, there came a man named Enoch. Whose story, the story of Enoch, was completely taken out of the Bible altogether, and it was written as fiction. But Enoch begins to tell you how the world began to change around the black man. How it was the first book. And remember, Adam and Eve, there was a book in the Bible called Adam and Eve. It was a book that was said to be written about Adam and Eve, about the life of Adam and Eve after the fall. But Enoch, in the book of Enoch, was written in Ethiopia. It is an Ethiopian. Yes, it was written in Ethiopia. The book of Enoch. There are 16 mountains in Ethiopia. And the Ethiopians say Enoch was a black man. It was a black family. They all, as a black family, lived up in those mountains. And you can see that in the book of Titus. I think it's the book of Titus, where it was talking about when Enoch will come down from the mountains. And when you read the actual book of Enoch itself, it says Enoch will come down maybe once a month or maybe even once a year because the world was being so corrupted. The men that was made on the 6th day was being so corrupted. But there's a reason why who we are is so largely relegated to fiction. Because we have been taught and we have been told that the whole entire world is just what you see in front of your eyes. That this physical realm and only that which you can touch, taste, see, or feel makes up the world around us. But there is another world that lays on top of this one. There is another world that is more real than this one. There is another world that runs parallel, side by side, lays right on top of this one. And blacks are the bridge between the spiritual world and the natural world. We are the bridge. If you wanted to disconnect the world from God so that you can build another system in place of the God who rules this world, you would have to oppress the black man. You would have to separate the black people from their soul, separate the black people from their nature.
And the thing about that is the spiritual world will still continue to affect the natural world because the spiritual world is more real than this one. When I look at one of the favorite movies I like to watch is I like watching Marvel. I like watching Marvel movies. I've been following Marvel since the comic books or whatever. And I always tell people if Doctor Strange was a real person, Doctor Strange would be Enoch. And if you read the book of Enoch, okay, yeah, you're right. Doctor Strange would be Enoch. You understand? And I ain't know, whatever super duper black dude that's like, oh, everybody whoever did any, you know what I'm saying? All Avengers would be black. No. You got Black Panther, but the rest of them, whatever they are, who they are. But when I see the movie Doctor Strange, to me that's Enoch, because that was Enoch's job. Enoch's job was to guard the gateways and portals of the spiritual world. Enoch's job was to guard the portals between that world and this world. That was his job. So when angels came down to man and began to teach them forbidden practices and begin to influence man in an unnatural way, and they wanted to return, they found that the portals and gateways that they used to get here was now closed and locked. These angels now had to go to Enoch and ask Enoch to go and talk to God on their behalf to see if they could come back up. And we are the children of Enoch, descendants of Enoch, blacks. And the descendants of Enoch are, because remember, Noah comes from Enoch, and the three children of Noah account for all of the population on the earth. But out of all dispensations, from Adam to Seth to Methuselah to Enoch to Noah, all of them had brothers, all of them had siblings, but there was always one child that carried the seed of God to the next generation. Always. And then he would have a bunch of children, and then out of all his children, there would be one child that carried the seed to the next generation. And to those who are carrying that seed, that is the seed of Adam, the seed of Methuselah, the seed of Enoch, the seed of Noah. You understand? So all of those responsibilities and all of those things comes with carrying that seed. That is the responsibility of carrying that seed. So a lot of people have what we call spiritual abortions. They find that, wow, I carry this seed. I carry that spirit, that soul within me to stand up and make change for my people. But then they look back on the long history of everyone who has carried that seed and all of the persecution that they have gone through for carrying light in a world made of darkness. And instead of letting your light so shine, they put the light out. They smother the light out. Because I don't want to be different. I don't want to be persecuted. I don't want people hunting after my life. I don't want to be afraid for my family. I don't want to go through what everybody else went through for carrying that seed, and they put their own light out. Great power comes with great responsibility. And one of the responsibilities of Enoch, our ancestor, the responsibilities of us as blacks, we are the spiritual gatekeepers of this world. We are supposed to be the ones who protects the portals and the gateways and the doors between the spiritual world and this one. And they know that. Because most of the oppressors, most of the people that is so deadlocked on oppressing us as a people. When I first got back, when I was about 23 and I first got back to Florida, And, you know, they was talking then. When I got back to Florida, I left for 4 years. And when I got back to Florida, the businesses were closed. Everything was boarded up. The housing bust had just happened. I mean, the place was in shambles. It was nothing like when I left. I said, wow, what happened? Oh man, this country is in a recession. This country is in a recession. But then I would look and I see that, and you know what we talked about in the first segment, the record labels are still putting millions of dollars behind the rap culture, the gangster rap. They still put millions of dollars in. The drugs are still coming. The guns are still coming. The liquors are still coming. And I'm like, I thought we was in a recession. So if we're in a recession and the country is trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, what is so important about our people that still has them spending billions and billions of dollars a year on keeping us oppressed and controlled and manipulated and deceived? And any country really under pressure is like, listen, you know what? We don't have the resources to keep messing with y'all. Y'all get it how you live. We need to recover this country. But even in the middle of a recession and the housing burst and bust and all of that, the drugs were still coming, the guns were still coming, the liquor was still coming, the billions and billions of dollars on the destructive culture that had been perpetuated among our people was still being funneled out. And that made me start asking questions like, damn, who are we that even in a recession, you're still willing to spend billions of dollars on keeping us ignorant? And I began to understand something when I took my spiritual journey. I have a mixtape that I dropped called, it's a 3-part mixtape. And, you know, you're working on volume 2. You know what I'm saying? Coming soon. But I call it X After Mecca. Because for 6 years, I just took a period to understand who I am who we are as. Well, you can't understand who your people are until you understand who you are, because everyone around you is just a reflection of yourself. So to understand who I was as a spiritual being, to understand who I am as a soul, and I just took 6 years away from everything to just fast, pray, meditate, and begin to understand who I am as a soul being. You know? And during understanding that spiritual world and understanding that world, that number one, before anything happens here, it has already happened over there. This world, this material world, this physical world is the product of the spiritual world. Whatever is going on in this world right now is happening in the spiritual world first. And we are getting the backlash. We are getting the fruit. We're getting the products of what is happening in the spiritual world. The spiritual world affects this world, not the other way around. And understanding that the very same people that try to influence the world to be atheists, meaning that the very same people who try to influence the world to not believe in God, themselves believe in Satan. And not just believe in, as God always seeks to influence mankind towards a better path, there is also another entity that is always seeking to influence the world towards a negative path. And just like there are people who follow God to help influence the world towards a better path, there are people who follow this other entity to influence the world towards a negative path. So the fact that
when I ask the question, how come blacks are so oppressed, and how comes it seems like everyone in the whole entire world is invested in keeping us ignorant of who we are? It is because we, who are the children of the gatekeepers over the spiritual gates and doors and portals of the spiritual world, we are the ones who have been given the authority in the spiritual world. Christ was an African man. He came from Namibia. Go on your African map and look up where Namibia is. And in Namibia, there is a town called Nazareth. Christ, Samson, they came from Namibia. They're Africans. They're Africans. That's why they scared the hell out of those Romans that was over there. Oh, damn. When these African people start connecting to their God, they start doing some strange, mystical stuff. And it is the one thing when playing this chess game that we cannot account for. We can manipulate man to such a degree that we can calculate and account for all of their reactions. Like I said, when you ask when you ask back in the days when they used to ask the people, why did you start doing gangster rap or whatever? And they would say, well, we're just rapping about what we see. In this book right here, Revolutionary Suicide, this book right here, that Huey P. Newton wrote while he was in jail. He said, one problem with our people is that we are too reactionary. We don't plan ahead. We don't plan. We don't sit down and work out logical steps on how to accomplish a goal. He said, all our people do is react. That's all we do. We sit in one place and we just react. That's all we do. We just react. And in this book, Revolutionary Suicide, Huey P. Newton said, when you are a reactionary people, you are very easy to be controlled. Very easy to be controlled. I talk to my family about that all the time. I think I was talking to my brother about that earlier today. About if I know I can make you react a certain way, that gives me control over you. Oh, I know he loved them right Reeboks. Okay, so he can try to be all calm and he can try to be all peaceful. And no matter how good his day is going, I know if I step on them Reeboks, he gonna snap and he gonna ruin his day. That's control. That is control I now have over you because I have control over your emotional state. That is a level, that is a form of control. So now whenever I want to make you react that way, I just step on your shit. Reactionary. Huey P. Newton said, we are easily controlled because we are reactionary. We don't plan ahead. The survivalist mentality makes us live in the day, but it doesn't allow us to make a plan for tomorrow. Because we live in a society where we don't know if we're going to be alive tomorrow. We don't know if a cop is going to pull us over and shoot us dead. We don't know if we're going to catch a stray bullet from gang violence. We don't know. So this has made us survivalists, just living for the day. And if we can make it home and make it to our bed and sleep, I'll worry about tomorrow when it comes. Huey P. Newton said that's a very easy people to be controlled, and I agree. But when you're able to plan ahead, even when these things come, you don't react to it because you've already planned for it. Okay, you know what? I know how much I love my white Reeboks. Just for example. I know how much I love my white Reeboks. I know how much I love my white Reeboks. So because I know how I snap when somebody step on my white Reeboks, you know what? Today I'm just gonna wear the black. I'm just gonna wear the black. I'm just gonna wear the black Nikes. I'm just gonna wear the black J's. And you know what? If somebody step on my Reeboks, I ain't gonna even trip because I know they love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put a bag over them, so if somebody step on them, they still clean. It's an example, but it's an example of the difference between being reactionary and being proactive. A person who thrives, a person who has the mentality of thriving is proactive. The person who has the mentality of surviving is reactive. Okay, him, I know he get angry whenever you step on his shoes. So here we go. All right. As soon as he get angry, I want you to shoot him. And then when you shoot him, we're going to say we shot him because he was resisting arrest. All right, let's do it. And then I'll pull you over. Sir, step out of your car. Then when you step out of the car, I will step up. Man, you stepped on my shoes. Man, what the pop, pop, up. See, resisting arrest. He was being hostile with his... I've talked to so many people who said that when they were pulled over by the police, it felt like they were being provoked. They were being pushed and pressed to do something. And I tell them they already planned to shoot you. They already planned to kill you. They already planned for you to be dead. But they could not do that until they made you react. Till they made you react. They had to make you react first so that it can all make sense. First, they got to get a reaction out of you. So because we're reactionary people and we're not proactive, that person ends up dead just like they planned. And when we say, y'all trying to kill us, y'all are trying to kill us. I said, y'all trying to kill us. Nope. We shot her because she grabbed for my gun. Look, it's on camera. Look. Yep, you see what she grabbed from a gun? Yep, that's why I shot her. And what the judge is going to say who they're working with. Yep, case dismissed. Another person shot dead. No conviction. Philando Castro was the biggest one. The man told them, listen, I'm not reaching for nothing. I'm not grabbing for nothing. I am telling you that I have a gun permit. Okay? So before we get into this, I'm telling you, I have a gun permit and I have a gun right here. I'm going to pull out my license for the gun that I have and I'm going to show you the gun that I have and you can run it and the gun is clean. When he reached for it, they shot him in the chest. And his wife was like, what the hell? And the guy was like, sorry. Philando Cat, he was a school teacher. So he knew how these things work because the school is a part of the system. So he's telling them, I know y'all waiting for me to reach for something. I know y'all waiting for me to grab for something. I know when y'all pull over black people, y'all expecting us to do something. Okay? I am a school teacher. I work with the school board. I have a gun permit. I have a gun right here. It is registered. I'm going to reach down and I am going to grab my license for the gun that I have right here. Okay? Pop, pop, pop. Oh, damn. Why the hell did y'all shoot me, man? I told you. It's so trained and it's so hardwired. Because it's spiritual. That cop don't even know why he shot Philando Castro. He don't even know why. He don't even know why. See, everything I speak on this show on G.L.U.E Movement Radio, it all builds on each other. When I was speaking last episode about, when you begin to carry this light, your people will begin to come against you. But you cannot take that as, I hate my people and I reject my people. The reason I was telling y'all that is because this is spiritual, brother. This is spiritual. This is spiritual. That's why on G.L.U.E Movement Radio, we break down culture. You will never hear me get heavy on the white man, 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 white. I know some cool ass white dudes. I know some cool ass white dudes. When I refer to black culture, culture is the culture. Because it is the culture that determines your mentality. And it is your mentality that determines what frequency you are tuned to. God has a frequency. And when you come in tune with that frequency, you become aligned with God and His will for this world. But Satan has a frequency, and it is a low frequency. Yahweh, God, is called the Most High because He is the highest frequency. To hear Him, to see Him, to walk with Him, to hear His voice, to be guided by Him, to be led by Him, to come in sync with Him, to carry His seed. You have to be at the highest frequency. You got to vibrate higher. Guess what? This is a low frequency society. Everything we watch, everything that we listen to is low frequency. Go on YouTube. This is the stuff that XXXTentacion was talking about. Low frequencies. The music is low frequency. The television is low frequency. I haven't watched television. I think the last time I've had cable in my home where I stayed, I've been to other people's houses who had cable, but I think the last time I have had a TV that I watched, like the last time I watched TV, was about 6 years ago. 6 years ago when I stayed in Melrose Park. I remember where I was staying 6 years ago. I haven't watched TV in 6 years. 6 years. And even when I'm living in other people's house who have TV, I don't watch it. I don't watch it. 6 years. 6 years. And in the first 2 years, and it's called television programming. Television programming. This is your regularly scheduled television programming. In the first 2 years that I stopped watching television was where I gained most of my spiritual growth. It was like most of my awakening came from my first 2 years of not watching TV. I was here and I watched TV every day. Every day I watched the same. Every day I watched TV. Every day. Every day. In the first 2 years of me not watching TV, my spiritual growth shot up. And then it began to grow naturally. My understanding of things deepened. My mental capacities increased. I could think clearer. My dreams became clearer. I began to see visions. I began to feel certain things, and certain gifts and telepathies begin to open up. I hadn't started reading the scripture yet. I hadn't started going to church. I didn't even know how to pray. Nothing yet. Just off me not watching TV anymore, I began to gain parts of myself back. And I remember being at these vibrations, being at these vibrations. Like, yeah, wow. Whew, wow. Yeah, this feels great. And I remember when I would walk into a house with a TV on, or I would sit back in front of the TV like I was used to doing, everything would drop off. What I remember getting into a car when somebody was listening to the radio, or walking through the mall and hearing a song in the mall, and sitting in the restaurant and hearing the song, and everything would just drop off. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, is it that? And when I went 2 years without TV, and I moved into a place that had a TV, I'm like, oh, TV, yeah, good. Watch some TV, man, whatever. I remember it didn't even sound the same. Listening to the TV sounded like somebody scratching a chalkboard, like, turn it off. Turn it off, please, turn it off. Listening to the radio was like, turn it off. And the people around me like, bro, what the hell wrong with you? Just turn it off, please, please. It's hurt my ears. Just give me a headache. And they're used to it. This is regular life. So they're like, dude, you weird. I'm like, no, I couldn't explain it back then. So you start studying frequencies. Frequencies and vibrations. They're the same thing. It's just different ways to say the same thing. Energy. And there are frequencies that cancel out other frequencies. So God is a frequency spectrum. Where he exists, where he communicates, where he speaks, it is an energy spectrum. And for every frequency, there is a opposite of that frequency to cancel it out. For every 5, there's a -5. For every 3, there's a -3. For every 10, there's a -10. So I say, when I accepted that God is real and that Satan is real? Because when I begin to understand the energy of God, and let's say the frequency of God, because frequency and vibrations both describe 2 characteristics of energy. When I begin to understand the frequency of God, and then I looked at the society around me and realized that everything was tuned to the exact negative, the exact opposite of that frequency. So let's say, for example, the frequency of God is 10. Things are not tuned to 5, 3, 0, -3, -4. If it was, I would have said naturally humans are just naturally wicked. We as a people on this earth is just naturally wicked, naturally evil. It's just in our nature. But it wasn't. If God was -10, or not negative, if the frequency of God, just for example, to help y'all understand what I'm saying. If God is 10, 5, and 2. Everything in society was -10, -5, -2. And I'm like, no, that's impossible. In order for this to be, you would have to know that God was 10, that God was 5, that God was 2. I'm like, this is not knowledge that the average person has. So when the churches used to make the assertion that men are just naturally evil and naturally wicked, I'm like, wrong, bro. Wrong. Man is caught in the middle of something that is happening in the realm that controls this one. I do not believe that man is naturally evil. I don't believe that man is naturally wicked. I don't believe it. And the church used to try to prove to me and convince me that man is naturally evil and naturally wicked by the scripture, born in sin, shapen in iniquity. Keeping in mind that the people who translated the Bible didn't even understand the culture that wrote the Bible. Because the Bible was written in Africa, the Bible was written in Ethiopia. And Western culture can never understand African culture. I believe born in sin and shaping this iniquity is talking about the system that we're born into and the system that shapes our culture. But not that we are born sinful and born full of iniquity. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. The frequency of God and everything is the exact opposite. It's the exact counter. It is the exact neutralization of that frequency. They have antennas that all these antennas do is just put out frequencies. That's all these antennas do. You might look at it and say, oh, it's a cell phone tower. It's not a cell phone tower. It may be cell phone companies that own it, but that tower is there for more than cell phone reception. All this tower does is just puts out energy, puts out frequencies. In that God spectrum, that spectrum where God communicates, it sends out the negative frequencies. It just sends them out. And to anybody who wants to hear from God or speak to God or wants to communicate with God, it cancels this whole entire frequency range out. So when I was a minister in the church, people would tell me it's hard to pray. I try to pray, but it feels dead. It feels hindered. It feels like when I'm praying against the wall. And me listening like, wait, say that again? Well, sir, Mr. Royce, Brother Royce, they call me Brother Royce. Brother Royce, it feels like when I'm praying against the wall. Like it feels like when I'm praying against the ceiling. And back when people used to tell me this, I used to be like, praying against the ceiling. So, the scriptures I read say, study to show thyself approved. So I would start studying. People said when they're praying, they feel like they're praying against a wall. They feel like they're praying against a ceiling, a roof. And of course, everything that happens in the natural world happens in the spiritual world first. So spiritually, you know, you can watch the YouTube videos and stuff. They would tell you that there are spirits that build a layer of blockage between this realm and the realm where God is. And who are the bridges between this world and that world? Blacks. So a wall or a ceiling could never have been built, nor could it have been maintained if the black man was allowed to be in his position. But because the bridges, those who are meant to be the gatekeepers of the bridge between this world and that world, is in oppression all around the world, now other people are able to operate and close that bridge. And understand something, the bridge is only closed for our side. It's not closed for them. They close off the spiritual world for God's people. But those who worship that darkness, those who worship that entity, whether you call him Satan, whether you call him devil, whether you call him Lucifer, those who worship that entity, they use that bridge for their own uses. That's why they need blacks. That's why Adam is different than the ones who were made on the 6th day. Because Adam was created to be a bridge to God for the people. And this was widely known. There was blacks called Moors who traveled all across the world, teaching the world how to come more in harmony with the nature of God. Teaching the world different practices, and it wasn't religious. It wasn't religion. Moors were not a church. People think if I want to connect to God, I got to go to a church and they got to give me prayers and incantations and you know, speaking in tongues, incantations to connect with God. No. The people who connected the world with God, they never taught like that. They taught very natural things. They taught the European people how to clean their ass, how to clean their country. Don't live in the same house with your pigs and with your animals. God cannot communicate with an unclean vessel. It was the first people that traveled the world teaching the people about how to connect with God. They taught natural things. What foods to eat. What plants and herbs to make certain medicines that would activate the healing ability within yourself. There wasn't altars and praying and all of that stuff. That stuff came from people who were disconnected from God, who tried to connect with God in a way other than the way that He gave to be connected to. And as a result of this, they ended up connecting to different entities in different energies. But the Africans that traveled the world, teaching the world spirituality, they taught very simple things. Family. The Trinity represents man, woman, and child. So as a husband, take care of your wife. As a wife, take care of your husband. As parents, take care of your children. These things bring you in harmony with God. Why are you sitting in the church praying and fasting and doing all this stuff, but you cussing your husband out at home? You're getting caught up in the practice, but you're not understanding how to tune into the nature of God. We are all versions of God. The name of God as creator is El Shaddai. El, it means creator. It is His name as creator. So He said, let us make man in our image and likeness. So He made male or me'el and female. Fem-el. Masculine L, feminine L. It's not M-A-L-E. Let me tell you something. You cannot find God through Western culture. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. You cannot find God through Western culture. You can't even find yourself through Western culture. Western culture was created by people who didn't even know themselves. Everything they do in this culture is contrary to God. They change the spellings of words and change the meanings of words. It is. When I used to come into the understanding, like I said, when you become conscious, becoming conscious means that you're coming from a period of unconsciousness. So the first thing you do when you become conscious is you check your surroundings, you check your condition. And now the next step is to take action to improve your condition now that you are conscious. So when I first became woke or conscious or whatever they call it, I began to check my surroundings and check the condition of myself. How did I get in such a condition? Where am I? And when I used to tell people, this is demonic, this is negative, this is not good, this is controlling your mind, this is shutting down certain frequencies and certain things. But I didn't even know it on that level. I just knew that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is demonic, this is demonic, this is demonic, this is demonic. I have to say demonic because if I say this is wrong, you would think I'm going around morally judging people's lifestyle. I wasn't even at that level of understanding yet. Well, this frequency, I wasn't even at that level of understanding yet. All I understood when I first began my walk is that something is spiritually wrong. So the only term I knew to express what I was saying was demonic. So I would say, this is demonic, this is demonic, this is demonic, this is demonic. So the people around me and I was talking to church people. when I first awakened, the first people I went to was church people. Like, only y'all would understand. And man, they laughed my ass out the park. We would be watching TV. Royce, look at the football field. There's a pyramid on the football field. Is that demonic? Because football is demonic, right? Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, but everything in this society is demonic. Well, I'm gonna go to McDonald's. Is the cheeseburgers demonic? And I'm like, hey, you can laugh all you want. I don't know how to explain it, but... And what I was really trying to say is that everything is contrary. Everything in this society, everything in this culture is contrary to your God. Everything in this culture is contrary to Yahweh. As long as you are following this culture, which is not black culture, as long as you are following this culture, you will drift further and further and further away from God. And that is why I said earlier, when you begin to walk in your light, when you begin to walk in your soul, when you begin to walk in who you are, yes, there will be people around you who turn against you. Don't take it personal. Don't turn that into offense against your people and against your nation. I've heard people say, man, fuck black people, man. Every time you try to do something good, a black man be the one to rise up against you. And I tell them, no, my brother. That black man don't know what he's doing. This is energy and frequencies that we're dealing with. And you can only understand that, you can only understand those things to the degree that you understand yourself. You can only understand those things to the degrees that you understand yourself. But the minute you take on that offense and that bitterness and that anger and that hatred against your own people, you now become a vehicle and you now become a vessel for that energy. And while you have all the knowledge of your consciousness, you fall right back into where you came from. But those energies allow you to keep the knowledge so that you never make the adjustments that you need to make to continue your growth. You understand? So now I understand it now. And I couldn't explain it back then. And people thought I was crazy. And hell, I thought I was crazy. I'm like, really? Is everything as evil as I think it is? Or am I just making too much out of this? Until I got older and I realized that it's not a matter of good and evil. It's not a matter of right and wrong. It's a matter of the mentality that shapes this culture. Is a mentality that is in opposition to the mentality that brings the will of God to pass in this world. If the mentality and the mindset that brings you in alignment with God is 10, the society is built off negative 10. And let's say we're born at 0. You need to walk in the presence of that God in order to get to that 10 and to get in sync with that God. So likewise, in order for you to end up being a negative 10, in order for you to end up being contrary, in order for you to end up being in opposition to God, man is not born evil. Man is not born wicked. You can't be in opposition to a God you don't know. You can't be in opposition to a God that you've been separated from. You can't be in opposition to a God you never met. And they would say because the actions of man is in contradiction to God, that man is against God. No, man doesn't know God. Everything that we have been taught to be God is a lie. There is nothing in creation that is born against God. Because everything that's born was created by Him and passed into this realm from the birth canal. They call it the matrix, the birth canal. So nothing is born against God. But like a guitar, you tune your guitar, this system is tuned against God. And when you follow this culture, you become contrary to God without even knowing the God that you're contrary to. And what happens is, because we are the people that carry the soul of God, by becoming contrary to God, by following this culture that is contrary to God, which therefore makes us contrary to God, it then makes us contrary to ourselves. And we begin fighting against our very own nature. We begin fighting against our very own identity. We begin fighting against our very own purpose. We begin fighting against our very own God. Let me tell you something, and this would be a good note to end the show on. We crucify our Savior every time we live in self-hatred. Every time you hate yourself. Every time you hate who you are. Every time you push down and oppress and suppress and punish who you are so that you can fit into this culture, you're crucifying Christ. You're killing that seed of God within yourself. If I sat here and told you the 400 things that has demonic influences, you would say I was a conspiracy nut. But that didn't begin to make sense to me until I understood that this whole society is built in contrary to God. So if you understand then that the culture is built in contrary to God, then I don't have to tell you all the 300 and 400 things in this society that's demonic or has demonic influence, because you already have an overall understanding that the whole entire culture is built in opposition to God. And the culture is built in opposition to God by people who do not know Him. And who have picked up a mentality of hatred against God. Who have blamed God for the things that have happened in their life based on their own lack of knowledge of self. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know who you are, everything in your life will go wrong. Because you're supposed to tune your reality to your identity. You're supposed to tune this reality to your purpose. If you don't know who you are, you will be living in opposition to yourself every single day. Fighting anger that you don't know where it comes from. Fighting depression that you don't know where it comes from. Fighting suicidal thoughts and fighting all of these negative energies, these low vibration energies that you don't even know where they come from. Because every day you're living in opposition to yourself. And the true awakening is coming into alignment with who you are. Coming into acceptance with who you are. Coming into love of who you are. And understand that when you live in a culture that was built by insecurity, either it will make insecurities in you, or this culture that is built on insecurities will attack anyone who walks in their identity. Because it is a hatred that they have against themselves because they don't know who they are. So American culture is not black culture. Black culture is the culture that will realign the rest of the world back to its creator. And we are the ones who are built to carry that culture. But we're oppressed and we're living in psychological illusions. So we are not even able to carry out this purpose. And the world continues to live in array, in disarray, because the world has been set against the very people that were made to keep the world in balance with the Most High, to keep the world in balance with its Creator. That's why the lions didn't eat Daniel. That's why the fire didn't burn Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. That's why the cross didn't kill Christ. Because we are the people of God. And we were put here to help creation. But the world has been turned against us. And they have been taught that we are the enemies and that we are the threat to humanity. But the only thing that we are a threat to is the systems that was built in the lack of light. And we are a threat to those systems because we are the light. And you can't see how to take those chains off if you're in darkness. When the light shines, and now you can see, eventually you will figure out how to take those chains off. So you ask why I don't deal with everybody and I only deal with black? Because it's only my purpose to turn the lights on. Once the lights are on, from whatever nation you are from and from whatever body of people you represent, now you have to figure out how to break the chains for you and your people. I just turned the lights on. God, love, unity, enlightenment. Stick together like glue. This is G.L.U.E Movement Radio, episode 3. Holla at your boy. We out here. Make sure you tune in every Thursday, 3 to 6 on WMRR, G.L.U.E Movement Radio. We out. Holla at your boy.